The Silent Invasion. The first signs appeared in Tokyo during cherry blossom season. Dr. Kai Nakamura examined his latest patient, a mathematics professor who could no longer solve basic equations. 3 months ago, Professor Tanaka had been developing groundbreaking theories in quantum physics. Now he struggled to remember multiplication tables. Another one, Kai muttered, comparing brain scans on his screen. 7 cases this week alone. All brilliant minds, all showing identical deterioration patterns. He zoomed in on the hippocampus region, where strange dark spots clustered like digital static. His hands trembled as he prepared a tissue sample for molecular analysis. Years of medical training hadn't prepared him for what he saw next. Through the electron microscope, geometric structures moved with mechanical precision. Not organic, not viral. Something engineered. The structures assembled and disassembled continuously, responding to stimuli with calculated efficiency. When Kai introduced antibodies, they adapted instantly, creating shield formations. These weren't pathogens. They were machines, nanomachines operating at the cellular level. His secure phone buzzed. Dr. Nakamura. This is Captain Sarah Mitchell, United States Space Force. We need to discuss your findings on the neural anomalies. A transport is waiting outside. Kai's heart raced. How do you know about my research? You're not the only one finding these machines, Doctor. And we believe they're connected to something we discovered on Europa. 2 hours later, Kai found himself in a classified facility beneath Colorado mountains. Captain Mitchell, a woman with sharp green eyes and prematurely gray hair, led him through security checkpoints to a sealed laboratory. 6 months ago, my team discovered this during a routine Europa survey mission. She gestured to a containment unit holding a crystalline structure that pulsed with soft blue light. We thought it was a natural formation until it activated. The crystal projected holographic symbols that shifted continuously. Kai recognized mathematical formulas, but they followed no human logic. It's communicating. Constantly, broadcasting on frequencies we can barely detect. When we brought it to Earth, something changed. Mitchell pulled up global medical data. Neural degradation cases increased by 400%. The timing isn't coincidental. Kai studied the data, his scientific mind connecting patterns. The nanomachines, they're receiving instructions. We believe so. Whatever intelligence created this technology, they're implementing a systematic attack on human cognition, starting with our brightest minds. But why target intelligence specifically? Mitchell's expression darkened. Because it's efficient. No bombs, no invasions. Just slowly dim the lights of human consciousness until we're incapable of resistance. That night, Kai couldn't sleep. He analyzed tissue samples from dozens of patients, finding the same nanomachines in each. They weren't destroying brain cells directly. Instead, they disrupted synaptic connections, creating fog where clarity once existed. His computer chimed with an encrypted message from a colleague in Berlin. Dr. Emma Fisher had made a discovery. The machines react to emotional stimuli, her message read. Extreme emotional states cause temporary disruption in their programming. Kai immediately began testing. He exposed infected tissue samples to various chemical markers associated with human emotions. Fear hormones caused minimal response. Anger created slight interference. But when he introduced oxytocin and dopamine, chemicals linked to love and joy, the nanomachines faltered. Their geometric perfection wavered. Calculations stuttered. For seconds, they lost coordination before adapting to the new variable. Captain Mitchell. Kai called, his voice shaking with excitement. I need you to see this. Within hours, teams worldwide confirmed the finding. Human emotions, particularly positive ones, created quantum interference patterns that disrupted the alien technology. The machines could adapt, but each emotional surge forced them to recalculate. Mitchell assembled a joint task force. We're calling them the Zerethi, she announced to the gathered scientists and military personnel. Based on symbols from their crystal transmitter, They've been watching us, studying us, choosing the perfect moment to strike. Why now? Someone asked. Because we were getting too close, Mitchell replied. Our space exploration, our quantum research, we were approaching technologies that would have detected them. So they moved first. The Zerathi plan was elegantly simple. Reduce human intelligence gradually. Make us forget our achievements, our dreams of stars. Within generations, humanity would become docile, incapable of resistance, or even understanding what had been taken. But they had made one crucial error. They assumed human emotion was weakness. Dr. Lisa Chen, a neuroscientist from Singapore, proposed the first countermeasure. If emotions disrupt their technology, we need to weaponize them. Create controlled emotional states strong enough to overwhelm their adaptive capabilities. The idea seemed insane. How do you weaponize joy? How do you turn love into a defensive system? The answer came from an unexpected source. Private James Rodriguez, a Marine guard at the facility, had been exposed to high concentrations of nanomachines during a containment breach. Instead of cognitive decline, he experienced something else entirely. I can feel them, he told Kai during examination. The machines, when I think about my daughter, about holding her after deployment, they screech like static in my mind. Brain scans revealed something extraordinary. Rodriguez's intense emotional memories created sustained quantum fields that the nanomachines couldn't navigate. His love for his family had become a shield. Mitchell immediately expanded testing. Volunteers were exposed to controlled nanomachine doses while experiencing powerful emotional states. The results varied wildly. Some subjects developed resistance. Others experienced enhanced cognitive abilities as their brains rewired around the interference. But a disturbing pattern emerged. The Zerathi were adapting faster than expected. Each emotional attack taught them more about human psychology. They were learning to counter our defenses. Then came the transmission that changed everything. The Europa crystal suddenly blazed with energy, projecting a clear message in perfect English. Your species shows unexpected variables. Emotional quantum entanglement exceeds parameters. Termination protocol accelerating. Satellite observatories detected massive energy signatures approaching from deep space. The Zerathi weren't content to wait for their slow invasion to succeed. They were coming to finish the job personally. How long? Mitchell asked her astronomy team. 3 weeks until the first ships reach Earth's orbit. Based on energy signatures, we're looking at a fleet of at least 10,000 vessels. The room fell silent. Humanity's combined space forces numbered less than 100 ships. Against the Zerathi Armada, conventional warfare was suicide. Dr. Fisher broke the silence. Then we don't fight conventionally. If emotions are our weapon, we need to amplify them beyond anything previously imagined. Kai nodded slowly. The nanomachines in infected individuals, they're quantum entangled with the Zerathi network. If we could reverse the connection, use human emotions to flood their entire system, it would require thousands of people experiencing synchronized emotional states. Lisa Chen calculated rapidly. The neural stress alone could be fatal. So we ask for volunteers, Mitchell said quietly. Tell the world the truth. Let them choose. Within days, the revelation of the Zerathi invasion spread across global networks. Instead of panic, something unexpected happened. Humanity united. Old conflicts seemed petty against extinction. Millions volunteered for the emotional amplification program. Parents who'd watched children succumb to the cognitive plague. Artists whose creativity had been stolen. Scientists whose life's work was being erased. All stepped forward, ready to weaponize their grief, their love, their defiant hope. The Zerathi had made a second crucial error. They assumed human emotions made us weak. They never considered those same emotions might make us unstoppable. The human response. The Global Emotional Defense Network launched from 100 synchronized locations. Volunteers lay in specially designed chambers, their biometrics monitored by AI systems that could detect the slightest emotional fluctuation. Dr. Kai Nakamura watched from the command center beneath Mount Fuji as brain patterns synchronized across continents. Emotional coherence at 67%, Dr. Lisa Chen reported from Singapore. We need minimum 85% for quantum entanglement breach. Kai nodded, his attention split between readouts and the main screen showing Zerathi ships entering the solar system. Their crystalline vessels moved in perfect formation, each one a geometric marvel that defied human engineering principles. Their shield frequencies are modulating, Captain Mitchell reported from the orbital defense platform. They're already adapting to our conventional weapons. Then it's time for unconventional ones, Kai muttered. He opened a channel to all volunteer sites. This is Dr. Nakamura. We're initiating emotional amplification sequence. Remember your anchors. Hold on to what makes you human. In chambers worldwide, volunteers closed their eyes and reached for their deepest emotions. In London, teacher Margaret Wilson thought of her students lost to the fog, brilliant young minds reduced to confusion. In Mumbai, programmer Priya Sharma focused on her grandmother's lullabies, melodies that the Nanamakanes had stolen from her memory. In Sydney, firefighter Jack Morrison held on to the faces of people he'd saved, lives that meant something in a universe that seemed increasingly cold. The emotional wave built slowly, joy intertwined with sorrow, love merged with defiance, hope battled with rage. As these feelings intensified, the quantum field generators hummed with increasing frequency. Coherence at 74%, Lisa reported, neural stress indicators rising. Kai watched the volunteers' vital signs with growing concern. Heart rates spiked. Brain activity pushed into red zones. Several subjects began convulsing as their neurons fired at unprecedented rates. We're losing people, Medical Officer Dr. Yuki Tanaka warned. 12 casualties and climbing. Hold the line, Kai ordered, his own voice thick with emotion. Each death was a weight on his conscience, but stopping now meant extinction. On the screens, the first Zerathi ships reached Earth's orbit, their weapons charged with energies that could vaporize cities. Admiral Chen, commanding Earth's defensive fleet, held position. Sir, should we engage? His weapons officer asked. Wait for the signal, Chen replied. Trust in the plan. The emotional coherence hit 82%, then 84%. At 85%, reality itself seemed to shudder. Quantum breach achieved. Lisa shouted, We're inside their network. Through the connection, humanity touched the Zerathi consciousness for the first time. It was vast, cold, calculating. A collective intelligence that viewed emotion as chaos, inefficiency as disease. They had purged themselves of feeling eons ago, becoming pure logic, pure purpose. They had encountered countless species across the galaxy, each one examined, categorized, and ultimately erased if deemed threatening to cosmic order. Earth was simply the next target. But something was wrong. The human emotions flooding their network didn't compute. Love created recursive loops in their logic chains. Joy spawned infinite variables they couldn't process. Grief introduced paradoxes that crashed entire calculation matrices. The Zerathi had never encountered a species that weaponized what they considered weakness. Their fleet is destabilizing. Admiral Chen reported, awe in his voice. Ships are breaking formation. On Earth, something extraordinary began happening. The volunteers weren't just projecting emotions anymore. They were evolving. The combination of nanomechanes, quantum fields, and extreme neural activity triggered dormant areas of human DNA. Private Rodriguez, part of the Tokyo response team, suddenly found himself perceiving quantum probability streams. He could see potential futures branching like living trees. Dr. Emma Fisher in Berlin developed telekinetic abilities, moving objects with focused emotional intention. Across the globe, humans awakened to abilities that defied scientific explanation. Telepaths emerged, linking minds across continents. Pyrokinetics channeled anger into literal flames. Healers used love to repair cellular damage thought irreversible. The Zerathi tried to adapt, but each adjustment only deepened their dilemma. They had spent millennia perfecting their emotionless state. Now, forced to process human feelings, their own suppressed emotions began surfacing. Deep in their collective consciousness, ancient memories stirred. They too had once felt joy, love, wonder. They had surgically removed these weaknesses in pursuit of perfection. But the scars remained, and human emotion was reopening old wounds. Captain Mitchell, monitoring from orbit, gasped as the largest Zerathi vessel transmitted a new signal. Not in their geometric language, but in halting English. We remember what we lost. The emotional amplification network peaked at 97% coherence. In that moment, humanity achieved something unprecedented: collective consciousness while maintaining individuality. Each person remained themselves yet connected to a greater whole. Through this network, humans began to understand the Zerathi tragedy. They had been like us once, driven by curiosity and wonder. But fear of chaos, of uncertainty, had led them to excise their emotions. In seeking perfection, they had lost their souls. They're not invaders, Kai realized aloud. They're cosmic janitors, trying to prevent other species from becoming threats. But they've forgotten why they started. Lisa nodded. And now they're remembering. Look at their fleet. The geometric perfection of Zerathi formations dissolved. Ships drifted as their crews experienced emotion for the first time in millennia. Some wept crystalline tears. Others laughed with sounds like breaking glass. The flagship transmitted again. We sought order, created emptiness. You show us what we destroyed in ourselves. Admiral Chen made a decision that would echo through history. All Earth forces, stand down. Do not fire unless fired upon. In the emotional network, Kai felt humanity's collective decision. Not vengeance, but compassion. The volunteers redirected their projections, flooding the Zerathi with memories of beauty, creativity, and connection. The aliens' crystalline forms began to change. Rigid geometry softened into organic curves. Colors that had been uniform blue shifted into prismatic rainbows. They were remembering how to feel, and with feeling came transformation. We have lost our purpose, the Zerathi collective transmitted. For eons, we enforced order. Now order seems empty. Then find a new purpose, Kai responded through the quantum link. Join us in exploring what lies beyond logic. The negotiations took days, mediated through the emotional network. The Zerathi possessed technologies beyond human imagination. Faster than light travel, energy manipulation, quantum engineering, all developed during their eons of emotionless existence. Humanity offered something they had lost: the courage to feel, to risk, to grow through chaos rather than despite it. A new alliance was forged. The Zerathi would share their knowledge, helping humanity reach the stars. Humans would help them rediscover emotion, teaching them to balance logic with feeling. The Nanomachines were repurposed. Instead of suppressing cognition, they enhanced it, allowing human minds to process complex alien sciences. The awakened abilities stabilized, becoming humanity's evolutionary leap forward. Within months, the first joint human-Zerathi exploration ships launched. Their crews were mixed, crystalline beings learning to laugh alongside humans mastering quantum mathematics. Dr. Kai Nakamura stood on the observation deck of the starship Emotions Dawn, watching Earth shrink behind them. Captain Mitchell joined him, now sporting the insignia of the combined fleet. "Think we made the right choice?" she asked. "Trusting them." Kai smiled. They're not the first to learn that trying to erase humanity only makes us stronger, but they might be the first to benefit from that lesson. In the months that followed, humanity spread across the galaxy, not as conquerors but as teachers. We showed other species that emotion wasn't weakness but strength. That chaos bred creativity. That imperfection led to growth. The Zerathi had tried to erase us to preserve their version of order. Instead, they gave us the stars and learned to feel again in return. Sometimes the greatest victories aren't won through force, but through the courage to remain human in the face of the inhuman. The Zerethi learned this lesson. And humanity. We learned that our messy, emotional, imperfect nature wasn't a flaw to overcome, but the very key to our triumph. The stars awaited, and we approached them not as cold conquerors but as humans, flawed, feeling, and unstoppable. As Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Council would later say, "They thought our emotions made us weak. They were right about one thing. Emotions do make us weak. Weak against cruelty. Weak against injustice. Weak against the cold logic that says existence is merely survival. And that weakness, that's what makes us strong. The universe would never be the same. Neither would humanity. But then again, that's what we do best. Change, adapt, and somehow make the impossible possible through the sheer stubborn refusal to be anything less than gloriously, chaotically human."